Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. Today, we're covering Married to Medicine, Season 12, Reunion, Part 1. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. You can also subscribe, and you can leave your comments below. Let's get into this week's episode. Okay, y'all. All right. So, I didn't write anything down. I did watch the episode. So I'm gonna go by memory and just tell you how I feel about certain things. And I'm trying to go into the order of how things were filmed. It's going to be a two-part reunion, and I'm glad about it because when you look at this season, what are we going to really talk about? At least of importance. Of course, everyone comes out in a red. We know that Jackie and Simone, who usually share the same room, did not this year. Andy had commentary with both of the ladies just to see how they're doing. It's very sad for Dr. Jackie that this is happening. Simone doesn't think there's going to be a resolve, but Andy's hoping for a great result. Everyone comes out. I think some people looked better sitting down on the couch instead of some of the photos they took. And then some people surprised me as to how they actually looked on film versus how they looked in their photos. It's so mystifying as you're trying to, when you're even trying to judge the look, it's weird. It's so weird because one thing could look away in a photo and another as far as with TV and film, depending on how they edit and colors and all that stuff. It's weird. I was really okay with Contessa when she sat down. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's an okay look. Even when Brandy came out, I was okay for her sitting there with all the flowers, but when you look at the whole outfit, no ma'am. So it's interesting. Of course, y'all always see me on Simone's neck. Why in the world does Simone have these big rollers in her head and not have one curl? These stylists hate her. Because what in the world? Her hair looked disheveled. It looks like, how can I say this? I'll put it in married terms. It looked like the night after her and Cecil had some married time. That means all the curls were just knocked out. I'm like, you better fire that stylist. That's all I gotta say. I would stop payment on the check, please, right now. But yeah, anyways, Heavenly still looks the same though. And I think I said scram. Because I did this glam scram. That's my version of me just having commentary on different looks for reunions. But anyways, let's get to the show. Who we started out with? We started out with Toya, which was interesting that we were already there. They talked about their homes and all that good stuff. Andy said, or asked the people, do you think that this is going to be Toya's last home? Dr. Heavenly, she said, no, I think that she'll be selling it pretty soon and moving into a condo by herself. Now, she knows she was being very shady. Quad helped her out. You mean with her and her husband? Yeah. Did I say that? Yeah, her and her husband. You know you was being shady, Dr. Heavenly. We get on the Met Gala. Dr. Jackie said that she was very proud of Toya and what she did for what she had going on. Dr. Jackie said that we know that Toya knows how to throw parties, but we wanted her to feel what it was like to do the whole administration and to pull off this thing. And Dr. Jackie said she did it well. I think it was nice. I didn't say this in my review last week, and I just read the comments in it, and it really clicked. If only these women, along with Toya, would have just come together, because compared to what they made last year to this year, it's pennies. Pennies. They backtracked. I don't want to give Phaedra praise for nothing, but at least she backed up and whatever the quote that they had and the pledge that they wanted to happen, she did make it happen. And they made over $100,000. This year, probably half of that, if I'm calculating correctly. Half of that, maybe even, I won't say, if it was $10,000, I'm gonna say it was a quarter. And that's also depending on where the expenses. But if y'all just had chicken wings and stuff like that, yeah. Yeah. So Toya made this doctor's code where she was able to assemble all of the text message threads. The text message threads were about 24 to 48 hours of all this verbiage leading up to the Met Gala, and it was bad. I guess we didn't really go through the text, it was kind of more of a funny moment. We move on to Quad. Of course, we know that Quad and King are over and the journey for IVF. There was a question asked about Dr. Heavenly said that King was doing this for a storyline, da-da-da-da-da. I don't think that that's exactly what Dr. Heavenly said. I'd have to go back because I never thought that was really a talking point to discuss. But anyways, Quad shut it down. It was like, no, there wasn't no storyline. Nobody is spending all this money on IVF and taking shots daily, going through all the mental stuff, flying here and there for no storyline. No, we were in it. Now, a question was asked. I think this was through Simone. You guys were making baby decisions, but you guys couldn't agree on, her and King or Kirk, on where you wanted to live, did you want to get married and all that. And she said, well, he is a great father to his daughter that he has right now, and they don't live together, him and a baby mama. So, whatever. We kind of move on from there. I think at this point, they brought out the friends. This is 20 minutes into at least the airing time. Who knows how long the filming had went on, but hey, I'm good with it. Brandy and Angel, they come out. They did not discuss with Angel what's going on between her and Toya, which is interesting. We do get into Dr. Mimi's package when we'll get there in just a second, but we'll go to Dr. Brandy. They talk about what happened between her and Contessa, and Contessa does what she always does. Even though a lot of y'all were too busy trying to be on Contessa's side, which she was lying when she came back and when she left, before she left. But she's got this amnesia. All of a sudden, she don't know what she's saying, and she will lie. But anyways, I guess it's got to be till it's the right person for y'all to see it. But because it was Dr. Heavenly, Contessa was right. No. What was I gonna say? So her and Brandy are going back and forth. They got a banter. Contessa was still trying to dismiss her in some ways. And Brandy did have enough backbone to just say something. Now, I need to understand. Why didn't we get into the comments that Dr. Jackie said towards Brandy? Some things need to be talked about that weren't talked about. It was a little moment, but hey. We move on to Dr. Mimi. A lot was spoken about, her and motherhood and also things that were going on with Toya, and then also psychoanalyzing everyone. She did say, look, there's a lot of times where I'm always I don't get to really turn off. And I'm just paraphrasing as to just putting everything in a package of that I don't get to turn everything off. It's just like, she said the times where she does psychoanalyze is during conflict. She says she don't do that with him. Well, then Toya said, well, that's funny, because when you were talking with that young lady, Brandy, you were trying to get something started with her and trying to cause confusion and division between her and Toya, and watch who you align with. Mimi tried to explain herself. That didn't go over well because Toya wanted to talk over her. It was quite bad because you could tell that Andy was really annoyed, not just by Toya, but it was just like there was a lot of talking. Even though Andy said the person that pissed him off during the reunion was Toya, because she would overtalk people. On this half, it's not showing it that bad. So I'd love to see what part 2 gives. If Andy had to say that, then yeah, something was there. I really wish that Toya didn't speak up. I wish that Brandy spoke up. Even though I think that Toya and Brandy should have spoken up, because Mimi was talking about her in this whole situation. They talk about that there hasn't, I think it was Mimi said, or Toya, whoever, we really haven't had a start. And it looks like that there's been some type of bridge to where we could possibly build a friendship. Because she did say, I don't know Toya, even though she got a lot of opinions about her. And that's about how she behaves and how she operates. So yeah, there could be a bridge of friendship. I'm not really holding out hope for that, especially if Eugene and Steve, which we'll get into that in a few minutes, how they operate. It's going to be touch and go in that whole situation. Dr. Heavenly gets her package rolling. They talk about the whole situation with her son. Now, I didn't know this, but I guess part of the issue as to what was going on with the son was that there are some mental issues there. Damon was confirming it backstage as Heavenly was talking about it, because, you know, they always have a monitor in the back where the husbands can hear, and vice versa. The spouses can hear each other when their segments are up. He confirmed that. Some people were confused as to when Dr. Heavenly said, you know, I called Mimi to see what we can do, because I've done all that I know that I can do. And they were like, oh, well, Mimi just got here and this happened a couple years ago, so why are you bringing her in? You're spinning the whole story. I think she's talking about when her son left the house and was MIA and wasn't talking to nobody. That's when she called him Mimi. That's the only explanation, and I don't think that Heavenly's lying about that. There was a lot of exchange between her and Toya, and also a little bit with Simone. Heavenly was talking about, you know, there are things that aren't discussed between me and Damon. There's stuff that I don't say to him, and there's things that he don't say to me, because he knows, we know each other's triggers. You know, I have a good husband, I have a good man, I have a good marriage. Simone said, well, I don't remember the whole quote. But basically what she said is she was trying to throw her marriage in Heavenly's face, because Heavenly had a shotgun wedding. Simone, you are the last person to throw a marriage in anyone's face. Sorry. With you living miserable over there, you choosing to do that. With a man that is determined to put other people before you, even your own children. There was something about made up storylines. I think that was during Quad's part, where Simone jumped in and said, you know, I don't make up storylines. None of my stuff is spontaneous and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, or what'd she say? My stuff happens on the spot. Well, $60,000 credit card bill doesn't happen overnight, man. So do you get story enough to have something to say on the show? Yes, you do. That's what you got to do. Except for Contessa, who just said that they were renovating a place that we haven't even seen the finishing of it. That was her storyline. And if she hadn't started complaining about Scott at the earlier part of the season, there would be nothing. But she did do a good job on the girls trip. I'll just say that much. I can give her that. But I mean, yeah. So let's stop with that. And the last part is with Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie is under fire at this moment because it seems like, and Dr. Jackie admitted that she was riding the fence. She says that she was trying to be a friend to both Heavenly and Simone when she was on Watch What Happens Live. And this is what triggered Simone to write out that sentence about her aligning herself with the devil and to unfollow her. Simone was upset initially, even during the whole Angels event, that they were coming to her about that she needs to settle down, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, I'm not going to be settling down if everyone else is not. Jackie is the person that's able to get Simone to calm down. Angel has expressed, no, you were erratic and you were out of control and you wouldn't stop. And you're just saying that, you know, I'm on 10, if the next person's on 10, and I'm going to be on 10. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But you didn't know how to bring it back in. And I think that that's missing. And I don't think that you want to take accountability for that, because you think that you're playing the reality show games, but you think that you should be just the automatic victim in all of this, based upon your mouth and what you let come out of it, and to the wrong person. So basically, look, Simone's at this point of, we're not going to fix it because you should have said right is right, wrong is wrong. During the girls' trip, Jackie strongly told Heavenly, you need to go apologize to her. You need to admit your wrongs to her. Da-da-da-da-da. Simone did not do exactly what Heavenly is portraying her that she did. I will give her that. Did you nudge? Did you shove? Yeah, you did. You did use some force behind it. Plus, you were angry, erratic. Plus, it was a shock to Heavenly. Did you do exactly what Heavenly is describing? No. And she put such a dramatic effect on it. And I will call that out. If part 2 doesn't say what's in the rumor streets about what Dr. Heavenly did, then I don't know. I don't know how anyone thinks I'm supposed to flow. Because if I'm still seeing you being chummy with Dr. Heavenly, but you got all this animosity towards Dr. Jackie, which I really think what you want Dr. Jackie to do is to choose, and to choose you. That's what is just in my face, and that's what I keep coming up with. Dr. Jackie, sometimes your dramatics are really interesting, because now you go over to Simone with these dramatics of, I want to fix this. I need to know how you want me to fix this and all that. As you can tell that I'm not a fan of Dr. Jackie in this way. It's just like, ma'am, you know your friend. You know your friend does not want you friends with her. At least not in the same capacity. And that's the thing. And you know that. But we do know that they started refollowing each other. So, Simone started following her. Jackie didn't unfollow her. She was doing that weird stuff on the internet. But she feels like being called unhinged could bring up malpractice stuff and all that. I'm not in the medical field, but this is my thing, Simone. You have not worried about that in the 12 years that you've been on this show. You have not cared how you looked. Because if you think that if I'm a newcomer coming to your office and I've seen you on the show, you don't think that I would think that you would be yelling at me or something or have fright? There's a lot of people that will not. If they see you on reality shows, they will not give you business. They're just not doing it. I do know people that won't do that. And some people are more gravitated to people that have been on camera and all that too. So it can go either way. But I'm like, man, if it's that, you wouldn't be cutting up. You wouldn't be hollering and all that stuff on television if it mattered that much to you. I can't tell you how to feel, but I think you're being dramatic in that way too. That's how I feel. I think there's been a lot of drama and dramatics over something that I don't think that is very serious. But again, I can't tell you how to feel. I can't tell you how things go in the medical field either. But it's just how I feel. Now me, if you didn't want to make up with me, I'd be like, okay, cool. It's too much. It's too exhausting. I'm not finna be pulled in both directions. Da 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 da. You don't want me. You don't want me. But that's the Aquarius in me that kind of just detaches from people and stuff. So it's just like, okay, I'll just let you go. Bye. But that's just me. I think that it was a good reunion. We got a good start. And I think it's done them well from having a 2-part reunion so that we don't have to go through all of nothing. Of course, the men started cutting up, and it was between Eugene and Steve. The main point that Steve Eugene wanted to point out, if you said that you weren't going to, that you were out as far as participating and giving, then why did you show up? Because it's a cast event. If they were under different circumstances, I'm sure that they wouldn't show up at all. But they got to show up to film. So people are like, oh, he ate how he ate. He didn't eat. He got to show up. But we'll get into the men on next week. So that's my synopsis of what was happening. Of course, I didn't write everything down, but hopefully you understood what I was saying and are okay with what I said. You don't have to be okay. If you disagree, let me know. But like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next week, peace.